The great chamber of the Galactic Council buzzed with nervous energy. Representatives from 12 different alien species sat in their floating seats, their various forms creating a rainbow of colors and shapes. Some looked like walking trees, others resembled giant insects, and a few glowed with soft light from within crystal bodies. Ambassador Zephys stood in the center of the room. His crystal form flickered between blue and red, showing his deep worry. The other council members had never seen him so upset. Zephys was known for staying calm, even during the worst crises, but today was different. Honored members, Zephys began, his voice carrying through the translation devices. The Devourers have taken another system. Kepler 442 is gone. All 7 billion Velnari who lived there are gone. A heavy silence fell over the chamber. The loss of an entire star system was almost too big to understand. The Devourers were machines, but not like any technology the galaxy had ever seen. They came from beyond the edge of known space, eating everything in their path. Planets, stars, entire civilizations, nothing could stop them. That makes 3 systems in 2 months, said Representative Quill, her bird-like head tilting to one side. Our combined fleets can't even slow them down. Admiral Tyrek of the Hegemony Defense Force stepped forward. His insect-like body clicked as he moved. We have lost 60% of our ships. The Devourers adapt to our weapons too quickly. Our energy blasts work for a few minutes, then become useless. What about the new quantum torpedoes? Asked someone from the back. Failed, Tyrek clicked sadly. They learned to counter those too. The Devourers study our attacks and change their defenses. It's like fighting an enemy that gets stronger every time you hit it. Zephys looked around the room at all the worried faces. These were the most advanced species in the galaxy. They had built incredible cities, mastered space travel, and created art that could make stars weep. But none of them knew how to win a real war. There might be one option, said Representative Nala. She was old even for her long-lived species. Her plant-like body swayed as she spoke, though I hesitate to suggest it. Any option is worth hearing, Zephys replied quickly. Nala's leaves rustled with what might have been fear. The humans. The chamber exploded with noise. Some representatives made sounds of disgust. Others showed anger through rapid color changes. A few simply turned away. Absolutely not, said Quill, her feathers standing up. We rejected their membership application for good reasons. They're violent, dangerous. Their planet is a nightmare world that only breeds killers. They eat other living things, added Representative Bork, his multiple eyes showing disgust. They actually kill animals and plants for food. What kind of species does that? The kind that survives, Nala said quietly. Earth is what our scientists call a death world. The gravity is crushing. The weather can kill. Earthquakes tear the ground apart. Volcanoes burn everything. The very air is poison to most of us. Which is exactly why we don't want them here, Quill argued. They're products of that violent world. They've spent thousands of years killing each other. They have weapons designed only to hurt living things. Admiral Tyrek's antennae twitched. What kind of weapons? Kinetic projectiles, Nala answered. They fire pieces of metal at incredible speeds. No energy involved at all, just raw physics. They also use chemical explosives and other things, primitive, scoffed Bork. Maybe, Nala said, but primitive might work where advanced doesn't. The Devourers adapt to energy patterns and quantum signatures. They might not be ready for simple metal bullets. Zephys felt a spark of hope. What else do we know about their military? Nala pulled up a holographic display. Images of human ships appeared. Dark angular vessels covered in armor plating and weapon ports. They looked like flying fortresses instead of the elegant curved ships most species preferred. They build their ships to survive in their harsh solar system, she explained. Radiation storms, asteroid impacts, solar flares. Their vessels handle things that would destroy our finest ships. Their crews train for combat from childhood. They actually practice fighting each other. Because they enjoy violence, Quill said with distaste. Because violence finds them whether they enjoy it or not, Nala corrected. Earth is a world where only the strong survive. It made them strong. The chamber fell quiet again. Everyone was thinking the same thing, but nobody wanted to say it out loud. They needed help, and the humans might be the only ones who could provide it. They applied for council membership 30 years ago. Representative Shan said slowly. His rocky form ground as he shifted position. We said no. Called them too dangerous for civilized space. Why would they help us now? Because that's what they do, Nala replied. Our intelligence reports show they protect the weak, even when it costs them. They have a saying, no one left behind. It's carved into every military base on their planet. Zephys made his decision. The crystal patterns on his body shifted to show determination, all in favor of sending a distress call to Earth. The vote was closer than expected. Fear of the Devourers was stronger than fear of the humans, but only just. In the end, 7 representatives voted yes, 5 voted no. The message will be simple, Zephys announced. We need help. We will offer full council membership, trade agreements, technology sharing, whatever they want. And if they say no? Asked Quill. Zephys looked out through the chamber's great window at the stars beyond. Somewhere out there, the Devourers were moving toward the next system, the next world full of innocent people who would die because their protectors weren't strong enough. Then we pray the Devourers are merciful, he said, though I don't think machines know how to be. The meeting ended with mixed feelings. Some representatives left angry, others worried. A few seemed relieved that anyone might be able to help. As the chamber emptied, Nala approached Zephys. You know what we're asking, don't you? We're inviting the monsters into our home. Zephys turned to look at her, his crystal body now glowing steady blue. Sometimes, old friend, you need monsters to fight monsters. The humans might be dangerous, but the Devourers are certain death. And if the humans are worse than we thought, if they decide they like our part of the galaxy? Zephys considered this. It was a real fear. Earth was a world that bred killers and conquerors. But what choice did they have? Then we'll face that problem when it comes, he said finally. Right now we need to survive the Devourers. Everything else is tomorrow's worry. The message was sent that same day. A simple transmission traveling at the speed of light toward a small blue planet on the edge of known space. A world so dangerous that most species couldn't even land there without special equipment. A world that might be their only hope. The message was short. Galactic Council requests immediate military assistance. Existential threat to all organic life. Will negotiate any terms. Please respond. Now all they could do was wait and hope that the Deathworld's children would answer their call. Admiral Sarah Chen stood in the command center of Luna Station, looking at the alien message displayed on the main screen. The communication had arrived 3 hours ago, and she was still trying to believe it was real. Run it again, she told Lieutenant Rodriguez. The young officer nodded and played the transmission. Strange alien sounds filled the room, followed by the computer's translation. Galactic Council requests immediate military assistance. Existential threat to all organic life. Will negotiate any terms. Please respond. Chen shook her head and laughed, but there was no humor in it. 30 years. 30 years since they told us we were too violent for their perfect little club. Now they want our help. What do you think, Admiral? Asked Colonel Martinez, her chief tactical officer. Could be a trap. Could be, Chen agreed. But look at this data packet they sent with the message. She pulled up holographic displays showing the Devourer attacks. Entire star systems stripped bare. Billions of people dead. Ships destroyed so completely that only scattered atoms remained. If this is real, she continued, then they're facing something that makes our worst wars look like playground fights. Captain Williams entered the command center, still breathing hard from his rush across the station. Admiral, I got your message. Is it true? The aliens are asking for help? See for yourself, Chen said, pointing to the displays. Williams studied the information, his expression growing darker with each detail. He was one of their best strategic minds, a veteran of the Martian Rebellion and the Jupiter Wars. If anyone could understand what they were looking at, it was him. These Devourers, he said slowly, they adapt to energy weapons. But look at this, the aliens only use energy-based technology. Plasma beams, quantum torpedoes, photon cannons, all things these machines can learn to counter. And we use, Chen prompted, kinetic projectiles, chemical explosives, nuclear warheads, good old-fashioned metal and physics. Williams grinned. Things you can't adapt to because they're not energy patterns. They're just matter moving really fast. Chen turned to Rodriguez. Get me a direct line to President Martinez in Geneva. Priority Alpha. The connection took a few minutes to establish. When President Martinez appeared on screen, she looked tired. The alien message had reached Earth's government at the same time it reached Luna Station. Admiral, the President said, I assume you've seen the transmission? Yes, ma'am. What are your orders? Martinez rubbed her forehead. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Half my cabinet wants to ignore this completely. The other half sees it as our chance to finally join the galactic community. What do you see it as? Chen asked. A chance to do what humans do best, Martinez replied. Protect people who can't protect themselves. Even if those people rejected us before. Chen felt a surge of pride. This was why she served. This was what made humanity special. Not their weapons or their ships, but their willingness to help others, even former enemies. What about the logistics? She asked. Our closest combat-ready fleet is the 3rd Battle Group at Jupiter. That's 18 ships, including 2 dreadnoughts. Is that enough? Colonel Martinez spoke up. Ma'am, 18 human ships might be worth more than their entire remaining fleet. Our vessels are built for war. Theirs are built for exploration and trade. President Martinez nodded slowly. Admiral Chen, I'm giving you full authority to respond to this crisis. Take whatever ships and personnel you need. Show them what Earth can do. The connection ended, leaving Chen alone with her officers. The weight of the decision settled on her shoulders. She was about to commit humanity to a war unlike any they had ever fought. Rodriguez sent a message to all ship commanders. Emergency muster at Jupiter Station. Full combat loadout. What about the aliens, Admiral? Williams asked. Do we respond to their message? Chen thought about it. The aliens had called them violent and dangerous. They had rejected humanity's application to join their council. They had treated Earth like a quarantine zone for 30 years, but people were dying. Entire civilizations were being wiped out. And maybe, just maybe, humanity's violent nature was exactly what the galaxy needed right now. Send this message, she said. Tell them help is coming. Tell them to hold their positions and prepare for human tactics. And tell them, she paused, thinking of the right words. Tell them that Earth remembers what it means to stand together against the dark. 2 days later, Chen stood on the bridge of her flagship, the dreadnought Earth's Wrath. Around her, the 3rd Battle Group prepared for departure. 18 ships that looked nothing like the elegant alien vessels they had seen in the transmissions. Human ships were built like weapons. Angular armor plating covered every surface. Weapon ports lined the hulls like the scales of some metal dragon. These vessels had been forged in the brutal environment of Earth's solar system, tested against asteroid storms and solar radiation that would destroy most alien technology. Admiral, called out Commander Singh from the weapons station. All ships report ready. Full missile loads, kinetic batteries charged, and marine complements at 100%. Chen looked out at her fleet. Each ship carried weapons that the aliens would consider primitive. Missiles filled with chemical explosives, railguns that fired chunks of metal at incredible speeds, nuclear warheads that relied on simple atomic fusion rather than exotic energy patterns. Captain Brooks, she said to her ship commander, take us to Keth 9, maximum speed. The journey would take 6 days at full burn. 6 days while the aliens held their positions against an enemy that had already destroyed half their fleet. 6 days to plan tactics for fighting an enemy unlike any human had ever faced. But Chen felt confident. Humanity had always been good at one thing, taking the tools they had and finding new ways to use them. The aliens fought with precision and elegance. Humans fought to win. As Earth's Wrath engaged its drives and accelerated toward the edge of known space, Chen made one final log entry. We go now to face an enemy that has defeated the galaxy's best. They think we are primitive. They think our weapons are crude. They think our tactics are savage. They're probably right, but sometimes primitive and savage is exactly what you need. Earth's children are coming, and we're bringing everything we've learned from living on a world that tries to kill us every day. The fleet disappeared into hyperspace, carrying humanity's answer to the galaxy's desperate plea. Behind them, Earth continued its ancient dance around the sun, a blue marble that had forged its children in fire and violence, making them exactly what the universe needed in its darkest hour. The human fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Keth 9 system, and Admiral Chen immediately saw why the aliens were losing this war. The Galactic Council's remaining ships floated in defensive formations around the system's inner planets. Their vessels were beautiful, smooth curves and gleaming surfaces that caught the light of the local star. They looked like works of art rather than instruments of war. By contrast, the human ships looked like they had been built in a weapons factory. Dark armor plating covered every surface. Weapon ports bristled along the hulls. These were ships designed by a species that had learned to fight before they learned to fly. "Admiral," reported Commander Singh, "the alien fleet is requesting permission to come aboard. They want to coordinate our defense," Chen nodded. "Tell them Captain Vasquez will represent us. Have her take a shuttle to their command ship." Captain Elena Vasquez was perfect for this job. She spoke 4 alien languages and had studied their cultures. But she was also a veteran of the asteroid wars. If anyone could bridge the gap between human and alien tactics, it was her. An hour later, Vasquez found herself in the strangest military briefing of her career. The alien command ship's bridge was a circular room filled with soft light and quiet music. The commanders floated in chairs that seemed more suited for meditation than war planning. Admiral Tyrek, the insect-like hegemony commander, clicked nervously as Vasquez entered. "Captain Vasquez? Thank you for coming. We were not certain Earth would respond to our call." "Earth always responds when people need help," Vasquez replied simply. "Show me what we're facing." A holographic display materialized in the center of the room. It showed the Devourer ships, geometric forms that looked more like mathematical equations than spacecraft. They moved in perfect formations, each vessel identical to the others. "They arrived here 3 days ago," explained Commander Yala, a being that looked like a walking tree. "We estimate 47 ships, all heavily armed. They've begun harvesting the outer planets for raw materials." Vasquez studied the display. "What have you tried so far?" "Standard engagement protocols," Tyrek answered. "We formed defensive lines and engaged with our energy weapons. Initially, we achieved some success, but within minutes they adapted. Our weapons became useless. Then you tried different frequencies?" "Yes. Quantum torpedoes, plasma cannons, photon beams. Every energy-based weapon in our arsenal. They adapt to each one faster than we can switch." Vasquez looked around the room at the alien commanders. They all had the same expression: defeat and confusion. These were beings from species that had never really known war. They approached conflict like a science experiment, trying to find the right energy frequency or the correct tactical formation. "Have you tried ramming them?" she asked. The aliens looked shocked. Yala's bark-like skin rippled with what might have been horror. "Ramming? You mean deliberately crashing our ships into theirs?" "Yes, but that would destroy our own vessels and kill our crews," Vasquez nodded. "Sometimes that's what war costs." The room fell silent. These peaceful species had never faced a choice between sacrifice and extinction. They had grown up in a galaxy where conflicts were settled with words, not weapons. "Captain," Tyrek said carefully, "perhaps you could explain human tactical doctrine?" Vasquez activated her personal display and showed them images of human ships. "We don't use energy weapons as primary systems. We use kinetic projectiles, metal shells fired at high velocity, chemical explosives, nuclear warheads, things that work through simple physics rather than exotic energy patterns. But those are so primitive," said Commander Zara, a crystalline being similar to Zephys. "Primitive works," Vasquez replied. "Your enemy adapts to energy signatures and quantum patterns. They can't adapt to a chunk of tungsten moving at 30% of light speed." She brought up tactical displays showing human engagement protocols. "We also use different strategies. You form defensive lines and wait for the enemy to come to you. We attack aggressively, using speed and surprise to break enemy formations." "But surely you coordinate your attacks?" Tyrek asked. "Plan precise movements and timing?" "Sometimes. But we also use something you don't have: chaos tactics. We train our crews to think independently, to make rapid decisions without waiting for orders. It makes our forces unpredictable." Yala's leaves rustled nervously. "How do you maintain command and control?" "We don't completely. Each ship captain is trained to operate alone if necessary. We call it organized chaos, overall strategy with tactical freedom." The alien commanders exchanged worried glances. Everything Vasquez described went against their understanding of proper military procedure. They had been raised in cultures that valued precision and order above all else. "Perhaps we could observe these human tactics in action," suggested Zara. As if summoned by her words, alarms began sounding throughout the alien command ship. The Devourers had sent a scouting force into the inner system, 5 geometric ships moving in perfect formation. "This is Admiral Chen," came a voice over the communication system. "All human ships engage the enemy. Show them what Earth brings to this fight." Vasquez watched the tactical display as the human ships moved. Instead of forming neat lines, they scattered in all directions. Some ships accelerated directly toward the enemy. Others swung wide, using the gravity of nearby planets to gain speed. It looked like chaos, but there was method in it. The first human ship to engage was the destroyer Relentless. Instead of stopping at long range to exchange fire, Captain Morrison drove his ship straight into the middle of the Devourer formation. Kinetic batteries opened fire at point-blank range, sending tungsten slugs through enemy hulls like bullets through paper. The Devourers tried to adapt, shifting their armor patterns and adjusting their defensive fields, but there was nothing to adapt to, just metal moving at impossible speeds. "Impossible," whispered Tyrek. "They're not maintaining formation. They're not following any tactical doctrine I recognize." "That's the point," Vasquez explained. "Each captain is fighting their own battle, but they're all working toward the same goal." "Watch Ship 3. See how it's using the debris from Ship 1's attack as cover?" "That wasn't planned." Captain Lewis saw an opportunity and took it. The alien commanders watched in fascination and horror as the human ships tore through the Devourer scouts. It wasn't elegant or precise. It was brutal and effective. Within 10 minutes, all 5 enemy ships were destroyed. "Casualties?" Sarah asked quietly. "None," Vasquez replied. "Though 2 ships took damage. How is that possible? They fought at such close range, took such risks." "Because our ships are built to take damage and keep fighting. Your vessels are designed for efficiency and elegance. Ours are designed to survive." Admiral Chen's voice crackled over the communication system again. "Captain Vasquez, how did our new allies enjoy the demonstration?" Vasquez looked around the room at the stunned alien faces. "I think they're beginning to understand what Earth brings to this war." Tyrek's antennae twitched rapidly, a sign of deep thought in his species. "Captain Vasquez, would your admiral be willing to coordinate a joint attack? We have 43 ships remaining. Combined with your 18. "Admiral Chen doesn't coordinate," Vasquez replied with a slight smile. "She leads from the front. And yes, I think she'd be very interested in showing the Devourers what 61 ships can do when humans set the pace." For the first time since the war began, the alien commanders felt something they had almost forgotten: hope. The Deathworlders had arrived, and everything was about to change. The main Devourer fleet arrived at Keth 9 like a geometric nightmare. 47 ships emerged from hyperspace in perfect formation, each vessel a dark pyramid that seemed to bend light around itself. They moved with mechanical precision toward the inner system, their intent clear: strip every planet bare and convert all matter into fuel for their endless expansion. Admiral Chen stood on the bridge of Earth's wrath, watching the enemy fleet on her tactical display. The Devourers had arranged themselves in a sphere formation, protecting their harvester ships in the center while combat vessels formed defensive rings around them. "It's like fighting a machine," observed Commander Singh. "Perfect spacing, optimal positioning, no wasted movement." "Good," Chen replied. "Machines are predictable." "Captain Brooks, signal the fleet. All ships prepare for assault pattern Delta." Around her, the human crew moved with practiced efficiency. These were veterans of the Jupiter Wars and the Mars Rebellion. They had fought in asteroid fields and radiation storms. They knew how to operate when everything was trying to kill them. "Admiral," called Lieutenant Torres from communications, "the alien fleet is requesting coordination protocols. They want to know our battle plan." Chen almost smiled. After 30 years of watching human military exercises from a distance, the aliens still didn't understand how Earth's forces operated. "Tell them the plan is simple," she said. "We go in fast, hit hard, and don't stop until everything's dead or broken. Human ships will lead. Allied vessels follow and provide support." On the alien command ship, Admiral Tyrek received Chen's message with growing anxiety. His tactical training told him this was madness. You didn't charge into the center of an enemy formation. You probed for weaknesses, tested defenses, found the optimal angle of attack. "Admiral Chen," he transmitted, "surely we should coordinate our approach. Plan precise timing for our assault?" Chen's response was immediate. "Admiral Tyrek, your people have been fighting this war for months using careful plans and coordination. How has that worked out for you?" The truth stung. Tyrek's mandibles clicked in acknowledgement. "Point taken, Admiral. What do you need from us?" "Stay alive and keep shooting. We'll handle the rest." The human fleet began its attack run. Instead of maintaining formation, the ships scattered across a wide front. Some accelerated directly toward the enemy. Others swung wide, using gravitational slingshots around the system's planets to build speed. The destroyer Thunderbolt actually dove toward the local star, using its gravity well to achieve impossible velocity. "They're moving too fast," warned Commander Yala from the alien bridge. "At that speed, they won't be able to maneuver when they reach the enemy." Captain Vasquez, still serving as liaison, shook her head. "You're thinking like your people think. Humans don't plan to maneuver. They plan to hit." The first human ship to reach the Devourer formation was the cruiser Defiant. Captain Rodriguez didn't slow down as he approached the enemy sphere. Instead, he accelerated harder. His ship's engines pushed beyond normal limits. The Devourers opened fire with their adapted energy weapons, beams that had proven capable of slicing through any alien vessel. The energy struck Defiant's armor and bounced off. The human ship's hull plating had been designed to survive solar flares and cosmic radiation. Exotic energy beams were just another environmental hazard. Rodriguez drove his ship straight through the Devourer defensive line, kinetic batteries firing continuously. Tungsten slugs moving at relativistic speeds punched through enemy hulls like bullets through tissue paper. Behind him, the cruiser left a trail of destroyed and damaged ships. "Impossible," breathed Tyrek. "He flew through their entire formation. And he's turning around for another pass," Vasquez noted calmly. The rest of the human fleet arrived like a storm of metal and violence. Each ship took a different approach. The dreadnought Vengeance used its massive size to simply ram through enemy vessels, its reinforced hull crushing anything in its path. The destroyer pack, led by Relentless, scattered like wolves, attacking individual targets with coordinated strikes. Earth's Wrath, Admiral Chen's flagship, dove toward the center of the enemy formation, where the Harvester ships waited. These massive vessels were stripping material from Keth 9's outer planets, their mechanical arms reaching out like hungry tentacles. "All batteries target the Harvesters," Chen ordered. "Nuclear warheads full spread." The missiles launched from Earth's Wrath were not the elegant quantum torpedoes favored by alien fleets. They were simple fusion bombs, crude devices that relied on atomic force rather than exotic physics. The Devourer's adaptive systems tried to counter them, but there was nothing to counter. Nuclear fusion was a basic force of nature. The explosions lit up the system like new suns. When the light faded, 3 Harvester ships were gone, vaporized by forces that predated any machine intelligence. But the Devourers were learning. Their combat ships began targeting the human vessels with kinetic weapons of their own, metal projectiles fired at high speed. The difference was that human ships were built to take this kind of punishment. The destroyer Phoenix took a direct hit that would have obliterated any alien vessel. The tungsten slug punched through her armor and tore through 3 decks, but the ship kept fighting. Human damage control teams sealed the breaches while the weapons crews continued firing. "Status report," Chen demanded. "Phoenix is damaged but operational. Thunderbolt has lost engines but is still firing." "Defiant. Defiant is requesting permission to ram the enemy command ship." Chen grinned fiercely. This was what human crews did. They kept fighting no matter what. "Tell Rodriguez he's cleared for ramming speed." The alien fleet, following behind the human assault, watched in amazement as Defiant accelerated toward the largest Devourer vessel. The ship's engines glowed white-hot as Captain Rodriguez pushed them past every safety limit. "He's going to die," Yala whispered. "Yes," Vasquez agreed, "and he's going to take a lot of enemies with him." Defiant struck the Devourer command ship at nearly 10% of light speed. The collision released energy equivalent to a small star-going nova. Both ships vanished in a ball of plasma and debris. The destruction of their command vessel threw the remaining Devourers into chaos. Their perfect formations broke apart as individual ships tried to compensate for the loss of coordination. This was exactly what the human fleet had been waiting for. "All ships independent hunting," Chen broadcast. "Find targets and kill them." What followed was not a battle in any traditional sense. It was a massacre. Human ships, no longer facing coordinated resistance, tore through the scattered Devourers like sharks among minnows. Each vessel fought its own private war, captains making split-second decisions without waiting for orders. The alien fleet, finally understanding the human approach, joined the hunt. Their energy weapons, useless against adapted defenses, proved effective against damaged and distracted targets. Working together, the combined fleet systematically destroyed every remaining Devourer ship. When the last enemy vessel exploded, the Keth-9 system fell silent except for the crackle of cooling metal and dissipating energy fields. Of the 47 Devourer ships that had entered the system, none remained. But the cost had been significant. Casualty report, Chen requested quietly. 7 human ships lost or destroyed beyond repair. 11 damaged but repairable. Alien losses, minimal. They stayed out of the worst fighting, Chen nodded. The aliens had been smart to follow rather than lead. Their crews weren't trained for the kind of close-quarters combat that had decided this battle. Admiral, Torres called out. Incoming transmission from the alien fleet. Admiral Tyrek wants to speak with you. Put him through. Tyrek's image appeared on the main screen. His insect-like features were hard to read, but his voice carried emotions that needed no translation. Awe, gratitude, and perhaps a little fear. Admiral Chen, he said slowly, I have never seen anything like what your people just did. You charged directly into the center of a superior force and destroyed them utterly. That's what humans do. Chen replied simply, we don't fight wars to win battles. We fight wars to end them. The galaxy owes Earth a debt that can never be repaid. Chen looked out at the debris field that had once been the most feared force in known space. Somewhere in that wreckage were the remains of good people who had died protecting strangers. That was the real victory, not the tactical success, but the proof that some things were worth dying for. Just remember this moment, Admiral, she said. Remember that when the darkness comes, there are people willing to stand against it. That's all the payment we need. 1 year after the Battle of Keth-9, Admiral Sarah Chen stood in the observation deck of the new Terran Galactic Defense Academy on Mars. Through the reinforced windows, she could see an impossible sight. Alien and human ships patrolling together in formation above the red planet's surface. The changes had come faster than anyone expected. Within weeks of the Devourer defeat, the Galactic Council had offered Earth full membership, complete access to their technology, and favorable trade agreements. But President Martinez's response had surprised everyone. We don't want to join your council as it exists, she had said. We want to help you build something better. The door behind Chen opened and Ambassador Zephys entered. The crystal being's form glowed with warm blue light, a sign of contentment that Chen had learned to recognize over the past months. Admiral, Zephys said in accented but clear English. The new cadets have arrived for this term. 47 species are now represented in the academy. Chen turned from the window. Any problems with integration? Some cultural adjustments, Zephys admitted. The Velnari students are still uncomfortable with combat simulations. They claim the scenarios are too aggressive. And the hegemony cadets? They excel at tactical planning but struggle with improvisation. Admiral Tyrek says they're too used to following precise orders. Chen nodded. This had been the pattern since the academy opened. Each species brought their own strengths and weaknesses to military training. The trick was helping them learn from each other without losing what made them unique. How are the human instructors handling it? Zephys's form flickered with what might have been amusement. Sergeant Rodriguez has taught the crystalline cadets 17 different ways to turn everyday objects into weapons. Commander Patel is running survival courses that would challenge even human Marines. Captain Williams has convinced a class of tree-like Sylvani that aggressive tactics are just another form of growth strategy. Chen smiled. Trust humans to find ways to make war palatable to peace-loving species. Any word from the frontier? The border patrol ships report no Devourer activity for 6 months. Intelligence suggests the remaining machines have retreated beyond the galactic rim. They seem to have learned that this galaxy is now defended. It was true. The combined human-alien fleets now patrolling known space were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Human tactical doctrine merged with alien technology created forces that were both advanced and aggressive. The Devourers had adapted to energy weapons and precise formations. They had no answer for ships that could think like humans but shoot like gods. Admiral Chen, came a voice from the communication system. You have a visitor in conference room 3. Chen made her way through the academy's corridors, passing classrooms where the impossible was becoming routine. In one room, a human instructor was teaching alien cadets how to board enemy vessels in zero gravity. In another, an alien professor was explaining quantum mechanics to human students who would use that knowledge to build better weapons. Conference room 3 held another impossible sight. Admiral Tyrex sitting across from Captain Rodriguez, the human officer who had sacrificed his ship at Keth 9. Rodriguez had survived the ramming attack, pulled from the wreckage by rescue crews who arrived just in time. "Admiral," Tyrex said, rising as Chen entered. "Captain Rodriguez and I were discussing the new patrol protocols. How are they working out?" Chen asked, taking a seat. "Better than expected," Rodriguez replied. "The mixed crews are learning to work together. Human aggression balanced by alien precision. We're covering more space with better coordination than either group could manage alone." Tyrex's antennae twitched in agreement. "My people provide strategic planning and long-range sensors. Humans provide tactical flexibility and, what do you call it? Battlefield instinct. And the other species? The crystalline beings excel at communication and coordination," Rodriguez continued. "The Velnari understand energy systems better than anyone. The Silvani can interface with ship computers in ways we never imagined." Everyone brings something useful. Chen felt a warm satisfaction. This was what she had hoped for when Earth first decided to help. Not just victory in battle, but a chance to build something better than what came before. "There is one issue," Tyrex said carefully. "The outer colonies are requesting human military advisors. They want to learn aggressive tactics for their own defense forces. And some council members worry about spreading human military doctrine too widely. They fear we might be creating something we can't control." Chen understood the concern. Earth's military philosophy was based on the idea that sometimes violence was the only answer to violence. For species that had evolved on peaceful worlds, this concept was both fascinating and terrifying. "What do you think, Admiral Tyrek?" she asked, the insect-like being considered his words carefully. "Before Keth 9, I would have said such fears were justified. Humans seem too dangerous, too unpredictable. But watching your people fight, you could have conquered the galaxy after that victory. Your fleet was intact, our forces were broken. Instead, you offered to teach us how to defend ourselves. Because that's what humans do," Rodriguez said simply. "We protect the innocent. We stand up to bullies. We help the weak become strong." Zephys entered the conference room, his crystal form flickering with urgency. "Admiral Chen, we have a priority transmission from the Frontier Patrol. Long-range sensors have detected something moving beyond the galactic rim." Chen felt her pulse quicken. "Devourers? Unknown. But the energy signature is massive. Whatever it is, it's much larger than anything we've seen before." They moved quickly to the Academy's command center, where a holographic display showed the edge of known space. Beyond the last mapped stars, something was indeed moving. A collection of objects so large they registered as gravitational anomalies. "Could be another machine intelligence," suggested Rodriguez. "Or something else entirely. Time to intercept?" Chen asked. 6 months at current speed," reported the sensor operator. Chen looked around the room at the faces of her colleagues, human and alien working side by side. A year ago, this would have been impossible. The galaxy would have faced this new threat divided and weak. "Send word to all patrol fleets," she ordered. "Full alert status. Begin mobilization of reserve forces." "And the Academy?" asked Zephys. Chen smiled grimly. "Double the class sizes. If we're going to face whatever's coming out there, we're going to need every trained defender we can get." As the command center burst into activity, Chen returned to the observation deck. Mars stretched out below her, a world that had seen some of humanity's bloodiest conflicts, now serving as a training ground for galactic peace. Ambassador Zephys joined her at the window. "Do you think we're ready?" he asked. "For whatever comes next?" Chen watched a mixed patrol of human and alien ships practicing combat maneuvers above the Martian surface. They moved with a coordination that would have been impossible a year ago. Human unpredictability guided by alien precision. Alien technology empowered by human tactical thinking. "A year ago, you were facing extinction and we were isolated outcasts," she said. "Today we stand together as something neither of us could have been alone. Whatever's coming from beyond the rim, it's going to find a galaxy that's learned how to fight. And if it's worse than the Devourers?" Chen's reflection in the window showed a smile that would have terrified the old Galactic Council, the expression of a predator that had found its purpose. "Then it's going to learn why you never threaten Earth's friends. The Deathworlders are awake now, and we don't go back to sleep." Outside, the red planet turned beneath stars that no longer seemed cold and distant. Somewhere in that vast darkness, a new threat was approaching. But for the first time in galactic history, The civilized species would not face it alone. They would face it with the children of a world that had taught them the most important lesson in the universe. Sometimes, to preserve peace, you must be prepared for war. And sometimes the monsters you fear are exactly the allies you need. The galaxy had learned to bare its teeth, and the cosmos would never be the same.